as the cricket season begins. We are joined now in studio by the new under-19 coach, Lawrence Mahatlane. He will be busy with the under-19s in this upcoming month. And obviously, at the end of July, they will be visiting England. Thank you very, very much for joining us. How has the new job been so far?
Yeah, it is exciting, and this week we've got our camp, which is starting tomorrow. All of us lining up in Manland to apply for our visas, and we'll have a 3-day game starting on Sunday. So it's exciting. The excitement's actually palpable because I've been in communication with a lot of the scouts and the players, and all of them looking forward to this weekend.
I mean, the under-19s are best known, obviously, for their World Cup win. So you are inheriting quite a team that's full of excitement coming off that win.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have got that feeling that it's a World Cup squad, but it isn't. Only 2 players who went to the World Cup are eligible for this tour. So, and that's a nice thing about under-19 because you keep rebuilding. Every year you get new talent, and you try expose that new talent.
Obviously, you would have been busy in that selection process with the scouts. Tell us about some of the players that will be taking part in this camp.
Yeah, in the camp this week, we've got 25 players and only 15 of them can go overseas. One of the biggest surprises is the number of players that are coming from Gauteng and Northwest. We've got 11 of those players that will be joining us at the camp, and all of them have been doing a lot of hard work, and guys from around the country as well. We've got a couple of guys from Cape Town. KwaZulu-Natal is also another very strong province in terms of representation for the camp. So without naming any names and putting poor players under pressure, I think the selectors have identified 25 good players, and it's going to be one of those sad moments when you have to leave 10 of them behind.
We're not short of talent in this country.
Not at all. And that's, for me, is what's exciting about this job, because one of the key factors is how do we expose it, how do we encourage it. And the next World Cup is in 2016 in Bangladesh. Hopefully in this group of players, we'll take a couple of youngsters that we can expose to touring, to playing cricket in different conditions. At the moment, we're in the middle of winter. We're not really playing much cricket, while the English are playing a lot of cricket. So the next 3 weeks are going to be key in terms of preparation. I'll be traveling quite extensively around the country in that 3 weeks to not only spend time with the current crop that are going to go to England, but to also attend the under-17 camps, which will be taking place around the country, where future talent is identified and hopefully nurtured.
Well, the big talking points has been transformation in sport, and Cricket South Africa has been quite big on getting black African players involved. How does that? How do you assist in that agenda in getting players through the ranks from under-19 level?
Yeah, one of my job titles is Talent Acceleration Program, and managing that process. As we spoke about the under-17, I will also be attending the under-15 National Week this year, and I'll be sharing a lot of information. I'll be touring a lot of the provinces and helping them put systems in place to ensure, because cricket is one of those sports where you have to play a lot of cricket to keep getting better. And it's important that we get young black kids, just like young white kids and everybody else, on the field playing regularly, and that's when that talent, the cream will rise to the top. It's important we create a good base.
It seems that only players that play in the predominantly cricket schools get through the ranks. How do we change this? How do we see kids from rural areas, rural schools, getting interested in playing cricket, loving the game, and going to play on a professional level?
Yeah, one of the key factors to that is access, and access not only to facilities like a lot of us normally speak about, but access to quality coaching. And for me, I'm very passionate about that. I'm very passionate about guys getting exposed to good coaches. So having worked with quite a lot of coaches in the country, I'm fortunate in that I'm generally a phone call away from the coaches to say, I've seen a talent, can we create something around that particular talent to nurture it and ensure that it's not lost in the system, because as you say, it is a big wide world out there, and it's important that all this talent we identify at a young age gets nurtured.
What is your approach to this under-19 team going into this year's cricket?
Yeah, one of the things that I've already sent out, and it was quite interesting getting it back. I did a questionnaire on skills. I think one of the key questions for me, I'm very passionate about players understanding their own game, knowing who they are. So it was quite interesting reading some of the skills that the players believe they have and what they need to work on. And I believe if we can set that foundation and make sure that the self-awareness of the players is up there, it will make life easier in the long run for any coach that comes across them, because then they will understand their skill set and we can all keep building on that.
Absolutely. Now, you said that there's only 2 players from that World Cup winning squad in your team. We've seen Kagiso Rabada being called up to the South African A setup. It just sort of speaks about how good and competitive this under-19 level is.
Yes, you know, it is exciting, and you know, I'm also a rugby commentator, and what's exciting is 100 Pollard is starting for the Springboks from under-20, so it must be exciting. If I was 19 again, I'd be sitting there thinking, I'm not as far as I might have thought a couple of years ago, and that for me is important, that the professionalism at this level, because coming out of school and going into international, even at under-19 level, it is quite a step, and it's important that we help the kids go through it.
That's very important, the nurturing of these players at this age. Would you say this is their critical cricketing age?
Yes, it is, from a mental skills point of view, because they arrive, and it's a bit like moving from primary school where you're the big boy, and you arrive at high school where all of a sudden you're young again. And these players are going through that phase at the moment where they're leaving schools cricket, they're 19, and there's a big bad world out there where they're playing against men, and the quicker they can adapt and ensure they get into that position, the easier it's going to be for them.
What are the main things you're looking at this camp?
Yeah, at the camp, we're going to do a bit of technical work. We're going to do some fitness assessment on day 1. And we're also going to play a 3-day game, because a lot of these youngsters play a lot of one-day cricket, play a lot of T20 cricket. And I'm a big believer that your skills get tested in 3-day cricket, in longer versions of the game.
Absolutely.
We're playing 2 tests in England, 2 4-day games. So it's important to see how they apply themselves under the pressure of an extended day, because all of a sudden you can field for 150 overs instead of 20 or 50 and come off. And those are the kind of things that I'm looking at this camp.
That has been the pride of South African cricket, isn't it? We've always appreciated the test game.
Yeah, it is. It's the purest form of the game. That is entertaining, but I believe that's where you really get tested. And that's why it's called test cricket, because it's not only your technique, it's your character, it's who you are. To bat for 2 days, it takes something very special.
Just lastly, what is your vision for South African cricket?
Yeah, my vision is we grow cricketers that are skillful, that are self-aware, that are mentally mature, and that go out there and really represent us in such a way that every single one of us can be proud of them.
Lawrence, thank you so much, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you for having me.